Hey, beautiful people. This is Coach Yoakum, and I am going to help you with today's AMI work for day 31. Okay. So, we're starting a new project this week. Really, the last 3 weeks of school are going to look different than what you've done so far. And so, I want to walk you through this first few days here, just so that we kind of all get our feet under us and we know what we're supposed to be doing. Okay. So this presentation should be accessed through your Google Classroom, your advisory folder in your Google Classroom. Okay. You won't access this work in a particular class like science or English or math like you have been. This will be accessed through Google Classroom Advisory. Okay. And you will submit daily work through a Google form that you will share um, to all four core content teachers. Okay, and so I'm going to walk you through this today and just show you what it looks like. Okay, now this slide template here is for work days 31 through 35. So, in other words, the whole week. Okay, but we're only going to focus on day 31 today. Okay. So you can see here that your work today is going to count for all of your core subject areas: English, social studies, math, and science. Okay, now this work can be completed on paper. If you do that, you need to take pictures of your work and email it to all of your core teachers. Okay, so you don't have to actually do it digitally. You can do it on paper as well, but make sure that you email the pictures of your work to your teacher if that's what you choose. And lastly, you can complete this product or project on this Google Slides presentation if you want to through advisory. Okay, now you need to answer the questions throughout this slideshow and complete the Google form final product entry for each day, which will be linked in each day's slides. So I'm going to show you that in just a second as well. Okay. So the big idea for days 31 through 35, or the first week of this, is how has your family been affected by the pandemic? So this week, we're really focusing on how the pandemic has affected your family only. Okay. And so you can see here as we get to day 31, you'll notice the color of the slide is pink. All of the first day slides that you must complete are in pink. Okay. And so they're color coded. All right. So day 31 is this pink color. And you'll notice that the title of this work today is really My Home Community, the Family Before and Family After This Pandemic. And so let's take a little closer look here. Okay. For today's assignment, you should read the article Alone No More and complete the questions in the Google form linked in this slide. All right, so here you can see the article you're supposed to read. There's a hyperlink that'll take you to that where you can read that. And here is an audio version of that exact same article. So you can click here and have it read to you if you'd like. Once you read the article, you're going to come back to this slide here, to this Google form, and you're going to answer the questions in this Google form. Okay. This link down here, how to submit your work to your core teachers, is a video that Miss Perkins sent out to show you how to get a copy of your answers sent to yourself, and then you would just forward those to your English, math, social studies, and science teachers. So this video is really to help complete this process here. Okay, remember, you must complete your answers in Google form, and you must share those with your core teachers. Okay, that's important. All right. The next slide, you can see it's pink, so we're still working on day 31. It says review the graphs linked on this slide to answer questions. And then you have a diagram over here as well, states that are better and worse at social distancing based on the changes in distances traveled. So you can see Arkansas has done a pretty good job of maintaining that social distancing thought process. Okay, so these are links that you can go to and actually access. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so this link will take you to a Washington Post article, and you can actually slide down, read the article as you go. I'm not going to take the time to read that, but I'm going to show you that there are some graphs that you can examine. Okay, and there's simulations here as you go down. This is a simulation that shows how quickly the virus can spread from person to person when everyone moves and acts normally. Okay, you can see as they come into contact here. Now, what you should note about the virus is that the coronavirus doesn't spread like this right here because some people don't actually get sick after they've been exposed to the virus. In fact, a large percentage of the population doesn't get sick. But you can see how this simulation affects the curve of those affected here. Okay. And then you can keep reading down, and this shows a little bit different simulation based on access or social distancing. It kind of slows the process down a little bit, and they have several good graphs here that you can just simulate and kind of play with. So I encourage you to do that and investigate this pandemic. The next link, the New York Times graph, has a lot of graphs on it that you really don't need. So I'm going to specifically point out a couple that I think are beneficial to you. Okay. So we have to look for them a little bit here. You got to scroll down a little. Once my page catches up there, okay. So let me scroll down here and show you this graph here. This graph says what's going on in this graph, the pandemic intervention model. And so this would show you how the pandemic is affected by the different interventions that we've tried or could try. And then if I scroll down a little bit more, this graph right here talks about what's going on in this graph, flatten the curve. How can protective measures like social distancing affect how the coronavirus outbreak impacts our society? And so those are a couple of graphs that you might look at and investigate. I kind of noticed this one too just a second ago. What's going on in this graph? Coronavirus protective measures. And so you might look at that graph as well. Those graphs really are just to help you understand the pandemic a little bit better. Okay. As I go to the next slide, you'll see the questions that you need to respond to today. For today's assignment, you should review the graphs and articles on the previous slide. Consider these questions. These are the 4 questions that you need to answer. Okay. You need to go to the Google form that was on the very first slide. Remember this one right here? Day 31 Google form. If you click on that, it's going to allow you to answer these 4 questions on the Google form. And then you can submit those. You can submit a copy of those to yourself. And that copy is what you forward to your core content teachers. So once you fill out the Google form, you'll get a copy of your responses, and then you will forward your responses to your core teachers. Okay? I want to make that clear. And then for the last thing, is the final product entry. Now you can actually add answers right here to this slide if you want to, or you can, whatever product you're choosing to do. Remember, this is student choice, so you don't have to use this template. You can use any format you want. You can do a video blog. You can do just a video. You could do a journal entry or PowerPoint or some sort of presentation or multimedia presentation. It really doesn't matter. It's your choice. Okay. And so that's all we have to do today, because we've come to the end of our pink slides. Every time you see a color change in the slides, you're going to see a different day's work. And so that's all we have to do today for day 31.